A judge has just ruled that IBM must move to trial with one of their multiple lawsuits against them for gender and race discrimination of their employees. If you've been following the Lunduke Journal at all over the next year or so, you know that IBM's facing a number of lawsuits on this front, some of which in part because of Lunduke Journal's own reporting. And they've been dragging their feet on these. They've been dragging their feet on every single one of these lawsuits as best they can. In fact, on one of the lawsuits, known as Dill v. IBM, the IBM has put in a motion to just dismiss the case entirely. IBM was like, you know what, Judge? You know what? There's nothing here. The plaintiff, he didn't even say what was wrong. Like he couldn't even tell us what we did that was wrong or why he was even hurt. So you should just probably toss this out. We probably shouldn't even talk about this anymore. That was IBM's defense strategy so far. And the judge just came back and said, nah. So this, you got to go to trial. This lawsuit was filed last August. Many of you will remember this is Dill v. IBM. This one got a lot of press attention as a white man sues IBM because he says he was fired for being a white man, right? So they got a little bit of attention for that. But there was a tremendous amount of evidence behind it, huge amounts of evidence. And again, some of it I've reported on here. So they tried to get it tossed out. IBM's like, get rid of this stupid case, man. This is a dumb lawsuit. You might as well just get rid of it. And on the 26th of March, just about, like 6-7 days ago, the Honorable, I'm going to pronounce this name incorrectly. My apologies, Judge. The Honorable Hala E. Jarbu. My apologies. I mispronounce everything, so don't take it personally. Ruled that no, it's got to go to trial. I'm just going to read a little bit from the opinion here. Plaintiff Randall Dill is a former employee of International Business Machines Corporation, IBM. He worked in IBM's consulting division for 7 years before IBM terminated him. IBM supposedly terminated him for not developing new clients and not meeting client demands. Dill alleges that those reasons are mere pretexts. He contends that IBM terminated him because he is a white male, and as a white male, he did not fit IBM's, quote, preferred demographic. According to Dill, IBM has implemented a policy that incentivizes its management to terminate white men so that IBM's workforce has a higher percentage of minorities and women, also known as the diversity policy. After IBM terminated Dill, he filed this action asserting race and gender discrimination under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act. IBM moves to dismiss the complaint for failure to state a claim, and for the reasons herein, the court will deny the motion. In summary, accepting Dill's factual allegations as true and drawing all reasonable inferences in his favor, it is plausible that IBM's diversity policy incentivized his managers to discriminate against white males. And that Zook's unrealistic performance plan, Zook is the name of his manager, was a means to carry out that policy by creating a pretext to terminate Dill. At this stage, Dill has provided, and this is the important part, has provided enough facts to state viable race and gender discrimination claims against IBM. For the foregoing reasons, the court will deny the defendant's motion to dismiss the complaint. This is a big deal. Those are the words of the Honorable Judge Hala E. Jarbu, who clearly made it very clear that this is moving forward. Now, this isn't the only case like this that's going on right now. Just to make sure everyone's very aware, there is another case against IBM subsidiary Red Hat from Alan Wood v. Red Hat, which is ongoing right now. And IBM and Red Hat are taking a very similar approach to this, right? It's all the same company. Red Hat's just a division of IBM. Right now, Red Hat and IBM are trying to force arbitration, right? They're trying to force Alan Wood, who is suing them, into arbitration. And the lawsuit is very similar to the one this one, the Dill v. IBM one. Same basic thing, right? He was discriminated against because of his race and gender and religion. We're waiting to hear back from the judge on that one. Now, in that particular case, there has been no activity since last October. So we're moving on towards almost half a year. And I went looking through the court records on this one, that we've seen any activity at all in Wood v. Red Hat in the district court of Idaho. The last assigned to looks like it's David Charles Nye as the judge on that, I believe. And it's just kind of sitting there. And so IBM and Red Hat are having some success in kicking the can down the road, so to speak, right? And delaying things. Because the problem that they've got is there's just too much evidence around all of this. It's just absolutely overwhelming. Just to read a little clip from my own coverage of the Randall Dill lawsuit from back in August. In this latest lawsuit, Randall Dill, a former IBM employee, says that the company fired him because he is a white man. This follows another similar lawsuit filed against Red Hat, an IBM subsidiary, back in May of 2024. That's the Allen Wood lawsuit. And the state of Missouri filing a lawsuit against IBM this last June, in June of 2024, both of which focused on racial discrimination based on the leaks that happened with the Lunduke Journal. And I want to walk you through some of this because there is a tremendous amount of evidence here. It is extraordinarily overwhelming. And it includes video of both the CEO of Red Hat and the CEO of IBM confirming that there is discrimination, racial discrimination happening, proudly talking about it, as well as emails, PowerPoint slides, internal documents, everything. So this really all started in October 11th of 2023. The very first leak that came out from James O'Keefe. James O'Keefe published a leaked video of the IBM CEO, Arvind Krishna, talking specifically about how IBM was withholding bonuses from their executives if those executives failed to meet the race-based hiring quotas. If you hire too many white people, you don't get a bonus, right? He talked about it on video. That's not like an exaggeration or a theory. That's something that the CEO of IBM proudly talked about on video. So it's very hard to say anything other than, yes, that's what they think. They also confirmed that IBM has actually fired people for refusing to discriminate. Right. So they are on video. The CEO is on video saying that, yes, they have fired people if those managers refuse to discriminate based on race or gender, right? Things really kicked off in a hurry from that point forward. The very next day, December 12th, a law firm known as America First Legal filed a complaint against IBM just to kind of get the ball rolling. The next day after that, on December 13th, IBM held an all-staff call where the IBM CEO, Arvind Krishna, talked about the leaks that had just happened, so that they'd seen those leaks. And then the Lunduke Journal gets in the game. So December 13th, I published what was known as the Allyship Kickoff presentation. This is from inside Red Hat. And if you haven't seen this thing, you owe it to yourself to check it out. I'll provide a link to this chronology that I'm presenting to you here so you can go through it all yourself. You don't have to take my word for any of it. I published the whole thing. I mean, every detail, every single slide from this thing. So what this was a presentation funded by Red Hat, put together by Red Hat employees, approved by Red Hat upper management, that specifically talked about how bad whiteness is, right? How being white is evil, and you should probably be opposed to being white, and being anti-white is a good thing, and if you're a good ally within the company of IBM and Red Hat, you should be anti-white. And that sounds like an exaggeration, that sounds preposterous, but it's in their own words. Again, I'm going to link it to you so you can go look at the entirety of the presentation, which has been verified by Red Hat management, has not been contested by a single Red Hat employee, and which you can verify yourself because all of the people that worked on it are noted in the slide deck itself, and you can verify that they worked there and specifically worked on this sort of thing and proudly publicly talked about working on this. So it's very easy to confirm. On December 20th, the Lunduke Journal published what were known as the IBM email and Slack links. And this was a collection of leaks from whistleblowers with inside IBM and some IBM subsidiaries that were insane. Just to give you a bullet point list of some of what we learned from that. We learned that IBM has internal book clubs specifically focused on anti-white books. Not a joke. That they had diversity training within IBM that was absolutely mandatory, and diversity, part of that was being anti-white and having anti-white quotas, right? Actual hiring and firing quotas. We learned that employees are encouraged to take a public pledge to not be white, to be anti-white. They called this being their allyship pledge. They encourage you to take a pledge. And then employees who promoted these ally ideas are then rewarded with badges. They gamified the idea of being anti-white within the company, publicly rewarded people who were anti-white publicly, and shamed people by not giving them badges if they were not adequately anti-white. It was wild. We also verified repeatedly through multiple emails that executive compensation is tied directly to IBM employees adhering to and promoting the ideas that we just talked about, right? So the better a manager, an executive, pushed within their division the ideas that whiteness is bad, we should hire fewer white people, the more they were paid, right? And if they failed to push those racist ideas, they were paid less, right? And we have it on record that that's absolutely what was happening. 2 days later, December 22nd, I mean, it was just fast and furious. The Lunduke Journal published an exclusive CEO of Red Hat video. This was from Matt Hicks, who is the CEO of Red Hat. And again, Red Hat is owned by IBM, where he repeated on video that Red Hat, in accordance with IBM's official policy, has a hiring and firing goal around white people, black people, and women. Meaning that they must hit a specific number. 30% of all hires must be black people and 30% must be women. It's crazy, but they actually are on record saying flat out, this is our goal as a company. In video again. So now we have the IBM CEO, the Red Hat CEO, they're on record. Their emails, their public documents, their presentations, and videos saying, yes, they have that policy, which is illegal. And also at that point, the Red Hat CEO made mention that he was aware of all these leaks happening, but he wasn't going to make a public statement around it. On the December 26th, we learned through a series of additional leaks at the Lunduke Journal that IBM has a word usage council, which tells engineers what words they're allowed to use, like white hat and black hat and, you know, master code branch and slave branches and things, that sort of thing. And also we learned that any mention of a color in any sort of technical way is deemed problematic. So you're not allowed to do that. And then we had a little break. Things went quiet within IBM and Red Hat for a couple of months. And on April 16th of 2024, another round of leaks come out. The Lunduke Journal published that Red Hat had an internal ethics hotline, right? Where employees could safely and anonymously, if they wish, report ethics violation inside the company. And there was like essentially the equivalent of a bug tracking database, right? They could submit a ticket and they could follow that ticket and see, okay, well, how is this ethics violation being handled by the HR department? Well, we then learned that the Red Hat, as a company, the HR department, any ethics violation that was reported that dealt with the racist or sexist policies that had occurred, that had been leaked to the Lunduke Journal and others over the last several months, any of those policies were quickly deleted. Right? They were just ignored, censored, modified, and deleted entirely. And we learned that, as a general rule of thumb, employees with inside Red Hat did not feel safe reporting those ethics violations. And then it began happening. We started seeing lawsuits. In May 8th, June 21st, and August 21st of this last year, we saw an employee of Red Hat, an employee of IBM, and the state of Missouri all file lawsuits against IBM and Red Hat for exactly all of this. And now it's moving forward. So at least in one of these cases, Dill versus IBM, it looks like, I mean, I don't see the details yet of the trial docket, but it looks like this is moving to trial. And this is moving forward. Obviously, IBM is going to try and drag their feet, just as Red Hat is as well. They're spending as much legal money as they can to try and drag this out, to try and bankrupt the people that they wronged. And well, at least in one case, IBM's not succeeding. And that is good to see. It's good to see. Now, what's really going to be interesting to see is how this continues to get covered or not covered by the tech media at large. I mean, we've seen so many outlets that have just ignored these lawsuits entirely. And make no mistake, these have a huge impact on the world of computing and technology. IBM and Red Hat are giants. Billions and billions of dollars flowing in and flowing out in open source and Linux and enterprise computing and mainframes and everything, cloud and AI, you name it. These lawsuits have the potential to trigger a chain reaction of lawsuits that could bring this company significantly to its knees, because we're talking about a widespread series of discriminations that could impact thousands of employees with easy slam dunk lawsuits. There's a lot of people, and I've heard from so many now, that are literally either working at these companies now or were working at these companies but felt they were fired because of their race or gender, and they're just watching. They're sitting back and saying, okay, what's going to happen with these? As soon as one of them wins, they're going in. They're going to start their own lawsuits. And the impact that this is going to have on the world of open source, Linux, AI, on and on and on, is going to be extreme. But yet, we see all of these tech news outlets that are either ignoring it or, even worse, and we saw this with the Register and a few others, they literally run cover for IBM. They literally defend racism and sexism. They defend illegal discriminatory hiring and firing on the part of IBM, because they are paid for by these sorts of companies. They're not there to look out for the employees. They're there to look out for the shareholders of IBM. Yeah. Thank you to the Lunduke Journal subscribers for making this coverage possible, for making it possible to organize, verify, and publish all of the leaks that we've done over the last year or two. Couldn't do this without you. So go to lunduke.com, click on some links, ways to support, ways to watch, ways to listen, ways to read. It's all up there at lunduke.com. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, nerds and nerdettes, across the inner tubes, I do declare, end broadcast.